So next thing that we'll review is identifying different types of relationships as either quadratic, linear, or exponential. And so if we look at we've got three actual pictures or graphs, we've got a table of values, and we've got some equations. So we know that if the graph is a line that starts vertical on one side and then ends up as horizontal on the other, that's actually going to be an exponential equation. If, however, the graph looks like an upside down U or a U shape, that's a parabola. And parabolas are the hallmark of quadratic equations. We also know, again here, this is also going to be an exponential equation. Okay, based on it being horizontal at one end and then rapidly approaching vertical at the other. Next, we also have three equations. And again, in order to figure out the value or the type of relationship it's got to be, we look at the highest exponent in the equation. So in this case, the highest exponent in this equation is 1. Okay, and so because the highest exponent is 1, that's going to tell me that this is a linear equation. Here, the highest exponent is 2. Whenever the highest exponent is a 2, that makes it a quadratic equation. And here, our highest exponent is actually a variable. Okay, and so therefore, because it's a variable, that means that it's going to be an exponential equation. Okay, so exponential equations have variable exponents. Quadratic equations, the highest exponent in the equation is 2, and when the highest exponent in an equation is 1, that makes it a linear equation. Now on the far side, the right here, it says we've got a table of values. So here's our table of values, or TOV. And one of the things that I would suggest that you do is actually look to see whether or not there is a common ratio first, even before you do first and second differences and so forth. That's something you'll have to look at the test, but you should be aware that if the ratio between two consecutive y values is the same, that's also exponential. So let's take a look here. If I try 1458 and I divide that by 486, 1458 divided by 486, that gives me 3. If I do 486 divided by 162, 486 divided by 162, that also gives me 3. If I do 162 divided by 54, that'll give me 3. 54 divided by 8 gives me 3. 8 divided by 6 gives me 3. And so because there's a common ratio, so same ratio, that means that it's exponential. Okay, so it's an exponential relationship because the ratio between consecutive y values is the same.